I never thought the two people I trusted most would betray me in such a devastating way. My girlfriend, Emily, and I had been together for nearly 2 years. She was everything I wanted: kind, intelligent, and radiant. My younger brother, Jake, was my rock, my childhood partner in crime, and my best friend. I trusted him with my life. That Friday evening started like any other. I'd wrapped up work earlier than usual and decided to surprise Emily. She'd mentioned being swamped with work and planned to spend the evening catching up on her latest project at her apartment. Wanting to cheer her up, I stopped by her favorite bakery to pick up the cinnamon rolls she loved and a latte with extra caramel drizzle. As I pulled up to Emily's apartment, my brow furrowed. Jake's truck was parked in the lot. A flicker of confusion passed through me, but I brushed it off. Jake was like family to Emily, and maybe he'd stopped by to help her out or drop something off. Still, something about the way his truck was parked, a little too hidden near the corner of the building, gnawed at me. I walked to her door with a bag of cinnamon rolls and coffee in hand. The door wasn't locked. I hesitated. Emily was meticulous about locking her doors, especially when she was alone. Pushing my unease aside, I stepped inside. "Emily?" I called out. My voice echoed in the silent apartment. The living room was empty, her laptop on the coffee table still open to her work document. My gut tightened. Something felt off. A quiet, muffled laugh from the bedroom made me freeze. It wasn't just any laugh. It was Jake's. The blood drained from my face as I took a shaky step toward the hallway. My heart pounded like a drum, each step echoing in my ears. I reached the bedroom door, which was slightly ajar, and peeked inside. What I saw ripped the air from my lungs. Emily and Jake were sitting on the bed, their bodies tangled in an embrace far too intimate to be mistaken. The bag in my hand slipped, the coffee spilling across the floor with a loud splatter. They jerked apart like guilty teenagers caught sneaking out. Emily's eyes widened in horror, her mouth opening and closing as if searching for words. Jake stood, his face pale, hands raised as though he could ward off my fury. "It's not what it looks like, man," Jake stammered, his voice shaky. I let out a bitter laugh, the sound harsh even to my own ears. "Not what it looks like. Then what is it, Jake? What excuse do you have for this?" Emily stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. "Matt, please just listen. I didn't mean for this to happen. We didn't mean for this to happen. Oh, it just happened?" My voice rose, filled with a rage I could barely contain. "You didn't mean to betray me? Didn't mean to destroy everything?" Jake looked away, unable to meet my glare. The silence that followed was suffocating. My fists clenched at my sides as 1,000 questions swirled in my mind. How long had this been going on? How could they have done this to me? How long? I finally asked, my voice low but venomous. Emily sobbed quietly. Jake swallowed hard before answering. "A few months. A few months." My voice broke. I felt like the ground beneath me had vanished. The room felt too small, the air too heavy. I turned on my heel and walked out without another word. Emily's cries followed me, but I didn't stop. The drive home was a blur, my thoughts spinning in a chaotic storm. Images of Emily and Jake together played in my mind like a cruel reel, each memory more painful than the last. Every joke they'd shared, every time they'd been alone, now felt like a dagger in my back. Later that night, Jake showed up at my apartment. I didn't want to let him in, but his desperate knocking wouldn't stop. Against my better judgment, I opened the door. "Why, Jake?" I demanded. "Why would you do this to me?" "I didn't mean to hurt you," he said, his voice trembling. "It just happened. We got close, and I didn't know how to stop it." "You didn't know how to stop it?" I yelled, my anger flaring. "You stop it by not starting it, Jake. You were my brother. I trusted you more than anyone." Jake lowered his head, silent. I stared at him, my anger giving way to a hollow sadness. I realized in that moment that no apology could fix this, no explanation could erase what they'd done. "I don't want to see you again," I said finally. "Get out." He hesitated for a moment, then left. That night, as I sat alone in my dark apartment, I realized the worst part of betrayal isn't the act itself. It's the realization that the people you trusted most, the ones who were supposed to have your back, are the ones who plunge the knife in deepest. The pain didn't go away overnight, but slowly, I started to rebuild. I cut ties with both Emily and Jake, focusing on myself and the life I deserved. Betrayal leaves scars, but those scars remind us to value our worth and never settle for less than we deserve.